I always rush those videos at the end because right when I was talking, I saw that I was getting counted down on the YouTube 10-minute limit. But I just want to make sure that you understand what I did. I used the first few examples and essentially what they told us to figure out an equation that tells me, well, if I know the term t, how do I get the tth term, right? I mean, actually, it works here too. 8, we could write 8 plus 9t minus 1. Because here, this is the first term, so this t minus 1 term goes to 0. And that's why we only have 8. And it works on all of these. And that makes sense. Every term is going to be 9 more than the previous one. We start at 8. And the reason why it's t minus 1 instead of t is because we only start adding 9 after the first term. For example, if this was actually, if it was 9, 18, 27, if it just went like that, we could have just said, it's 9 times t. Right? That could have been the formula. Or we could have said 9 plus 9 times t minus 1. These would have been the same thing. But it started at 8, so that's why we had to make it a little bit more kludgy. Hopefully that explains it a little bit better. Let's do the next problem. Problem 6. Problem 6 I will do in yellow. They draw a bunch of lines. So they draw 3 lines. 1 line. 2 lines. And then we have a third line. Okay. Let me do it different. Okay, so this is S degrees. R degrees. T degrees. Z degrees. Y and X degrees. X degrees. 3 lines intersect in a point as shown in the figure above. Which of the following pairs of angle measures is not sufficient for determining all 6 angle measures? It's not. So they're going to make us go through all of them. Hopefully one of the early choices. So choice A, T and Z. So I'm going to do choice A in this brown color. So choice A, T and Z. Let's see. If I knew T, if I know T, well, first of all, if I know T, I immediately know Z because they're opposite angles, right? So I could figure out that. I could figure out that. Well, if I know either of those, I could then figure out, let's see. In order to do anything from here, now I'd need to know one of the other angles because I can't use supplementary. And this is actually the way you should think about it. T and Z only gives us the relationship between these 2 purple lines, right? It essentially tells us at what angle these 2 purple lines intersect. But it gives us no information about the angle that this yellow line intersects, right? Think about it. If I welded these purple lines together, I could still move this yellow line around without changing T or Z. So there's no way just knowing T or Z I can figure out what angle this yellow line is at. And if you did the other choices, you could try it out. You could, if I knew, for example, if I didn't know, if I didn't know T and instead they told me R, then I would be in business. If I knew R, for example, then I could use the fact that S, R, and Z form one line, and I could figure out S. If I know Z, then I could figure out T because they're opposite. If I know R, I could figure out X because they're opposite. And then if I knew S, I could figure out Y, right? So Z and T alone will not help you, so our choice is A. And normally on the SAT, when they give you something where you have to kind of try out every choice they give you, it's normally going to be one of the first choices because they try to make the questions as fast as possible. They don't want you to waste too much time. If you ever see yourself wasting too much time on a question, you're not necessarily doing it wrong, but you may not be doing it the quickest possible way. Problem number 7. The sum of 2 numbers that differ by 1 is t. So let's call those 2 numbers x and y. The sum of 2 numbers that, actually, let's call the numbers, yeah, sure. Let's call it x and y. We know that the sum the sum of x plus y is equal to t. But we also know that the numbers differ by 1. And then they say, in terms of t, what is the value of the greater of the two numbers? So let's just assume that x is the greater. X is greater than y. Let's just write x is greater than y. So that means that x minus y is going to be equal to what? Well, they told us that the sum of two numbers that differ by 1. So x is actually exactly 1 more than y. So that when I subtract y from x, I get 1. So if I want to know the value of the greater of the two numbers, I defined x actually as the greater of the two numbers. I just have to solve the system of equations for x. So let's add the two equations. X plus x is 2x. What's y plus negative y? Well, they cancel out, right? 0. And then what's t plus 1? Well, it's t plus 1. And now to solve for x, you get x is equal to, divide both sides by 2 or multiply by 1/2, t plus 1 over 2. And we are done. And that is choice C. Next problem. Problem number 8. This color is getting obnoxious. 8. Problem number 8. Okay, number of siblings per student in a preschool class. So let me draw this chart. So this is number of siblings, number of students. The table above shows how many students in a class of 12 preschoolers had 0, 1, 2, or 3 siblings. Okay, right. So if you, I haven't actually included the information. 0, 1, 2, 3, and then so so 3 kids had 0 siblings, 6 kids had 1 sibling, 2 kids had 2 siblings, and then 1 kid had 3 siblings. Later, a new student joined the class, and the average number of siblings per student became equal to the median number of siblings per student. How many siblings did the new student have? Fascinating. Okay, so let's say the new student has X siblings. X siblings is how many the new student has. So we don't know where the new student falls in, but let's figure out. Let's actually just try to figure out where the average and the median are before the student even joins. So the median number of siblings. So let me make sure the table shows how many. Okay. Later, a new student joined. Became equal. The average number of siblings per student became equal to the median number of siblings per student. So what is the average number of siblings per student? We just add the number of siblings for all of the students. So we should get 12 terms. So we can multiply 3 times 0, because there are 3. That's essentially 0 plus 0 plus 0, plus 6 times 1, plus 2 times 2, plus 3 times 1, divided by 12. This is the current average of siblings per student. This is 0. So this equals 6 plus 4 plus 3 over 12, which is what? 10. 10, that's 13, which equals 13 over 12, which is 1 1/12. So before this new student joins, there's 1 1/12. This is the average. Average. That's before the new student joins. And what's the mean? Oh, sorry. What's the median? Let's list out all of the. Let me do it in another color because I'm running out of space. So we have 0, 0, 0. There are 3 students with 0. Then you have 6 students with 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you have how many students with 2? 2, 2, and then 1 student with 3. So there are 12 terms in all. And what's the middle one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the middle term is 6. So the median before that student joined is 1. Right? And the average before that student joined is a little bit over 1. It's 1 1/12. So the only way that you can bring the average down, right? Because that's essentially what we have to do, this new student. To bring this average down, he's either has to have 1 sibling or 0 siblings.